It's been a while since I've been on here live with you guys, and I promise that I haven't forgotten about you. Simply put, I've been doing a lot. There's been a lot of traveling over the past month or so. So I'm just now getting, settled in again. Things are getting back to normal. So I'm feeling like myself again. I had a little bit of jet lag for a few days. And so yeah, I'm back, and we're going to be continuing on with these jump starts every week. I'm going to tune in with a new motivation and a new helpful something for your days. So, good morning. I want to welcome you to our Jumpstart this morning, and we're talking about identifying toxic relationships. So, let's get into it. Friends and relationships, romantic relationships, whatever it may be, they can really truly be a beautiful gift to our life, and they can add so much value. There can be many benefits to the relationships that we have with people. And we were created to have relationships with people and not be on our own, right? We were created for community. When God made Adam, he said that it wasn't good, that he needed someone. So just like that, we need someone in our life. We need to be in a good relationship, a healthy relationship with others. And so it's important that we are able to identify the relationships that we have in our life now that may not be beneficial for us, that they may actually, instead of adding value to our life, they're actually taking the value away. They might be keeping us stuck in a place in our life when God's asking us to grow and go further. So it's important to figure those things out while we can, and realize that every relationship that we have with another person has an influence. Okay? And that could be a good thing, and it could be a bad thing. Surely you've heard someone say in your life that so-and-so is a bad influence on you. So it can go either way. You can have good influences and you can have bad influences. Now, I'm not saying that people are bad. There are bad people, but I'm not saying necessarily that these specific people are bad people that are in your life. It could just mean that they're not a good fit for you. That your relationship with them is just not a good fit. So I want you to think of it this way. I want you to think of it as it's kind of a weird analogy, but you're a piece of fabric, all right? You're a piece of fabric that's being used in a beautiful way. And someone in your life is fire. And fire can be used for wonderful things, like being heated up, right? A fire is a good thing. But if you put the two together, what does that do? That normally means that piece of fabric is going to end up being burned up. So there are relationships that we have with people who just aren't good for us. They're not a good fit. So let's get into how to identify, and I think I have 4 or 5 that I want to go through with you today of being able to identify who these people are in your life and going from there, right? So number 1, this toxic relationship that you have with someone could be draining you. All right. Call it an energy zap. Just in the same way that you can have a conversation with somebody and you leave that conversation feeling inspired, feeling lifted up, feeling encouraged, feeling motivated. And in that same way, whenever you're having coffee with that person and having conversation, you end that day not feeling that way. You actually feel quite opposite, and you have these negative feelings and you don't feel good, right? So those relationships that are draining you, again, not saying that that's a bad person. They have some things in their life that they need to be working through, and you could be somebody who's a positive influence in helping them. But in those types of relationships, if it's not one that needs to be cut off, it's one that you need to spend less time with, right? Because it's an energy zap and because it takes from you and it doesn't add back. So relationships that drain you is number one. Relationships that don't align with your values is number two. So let's say, for example, that something that's really important to you and that you value is alone time with your husband, with your boyfriend, with someone that you love in that way, a romantic relationship, and you value this day night, or you're the type of person that values self-care and just a night alone, and you enjoy that alone time. And this person in your life, they continue to interrupt that. They don't see value in it the way that you see the value in it, and they want you to do whatever they want you to do. They want to come over and show up at your door, or they want you to go out with them and go hang out and go to dinner or whatever. They don't value your values and they don't respect your values. So those types of people, again, not saying that you necessarily need to end the relationship, but limiting the time that you spend with those types of people and drawing a clear line that says, look, this is important to me and I need you to respect that. So in some situations, it could just mean that you need to stand up for yourself a little bit. You just need to stand up for yourself and draw the line. And that relationship could turn into something better because you've done that. So I know it can be hard sometimes to stand up in a relationship and a friendship because you value that relationship. That relationship is important to you and you don't want to mess things up. But sometimes it's important for us to be able to say what we feel and make things clear. And that could benefit the relationship. So that's number two. Number three is people who are jealous of you. And you know the type, okay? You probably have someone in your life who you know is like this. But they're consistently pointing out your weaknesses. They can be judgmental. They can be very critical of you. So whenever you're making progress in your life or you're things are exciting and you're telling them about things that's going on for you, things that are going right for you, and they just simply can't be happy. They can't be happy for you. They're jealous of you. They're jealous of you. So we have people in our life who maybe we didn't realize that the way that they were being helpful and they were trying to get us to be more productive and whatever, fill in the blank. But those toxic relationships like that of people who are jealous of you, they're never going to be for you. But they'll tell you all about it. When something's going great for them in their life, they will tell you all about it. And it will be better. And anytime you have, let's say you bought a really pretty shade of lipstick and you're feeling that red lipstick, you feel so pretty in it. And girl, that is not your color, okay? But you know what they're going to do? They're going to go out and they're going to go find that same shade of red and they're going to wear that same shade of red because it looked so good on you, but it didn't. So they need it because it's their color. Anyway, if you have a relationship like that, girl, no, you don't need that. You don't need that in your life. So it's time to break up with that one. Just go ahead and let that one go. That's not healthy at all. All right, another one. So that's number three. Number four is people who manipulate you. You're being manipulated in these relationships. You find that you're doing things that are just to appease them, right? Because they have to have control over the situation. So I want to kind of mention a story of someone that in my life was a very manipulative person. And there was a relationship that I had where we had a falling out, basically. Things things, for whatever reason, I don't remember what it was, but there was a bit of a falling out and we were both upset with each other. We worked together, so we saw each other every day, but it was like, you could cut the tension with a knife anytime we were around each other. And it's not, both of us did something, I don't know what it was, but it was kind of like a two-way, like we were both wronged. But I will say, I just remembered feeling like I shouldn't be the one to apologize about this because, whatever. But I went ahead and I was like, all right, we're going to make this right. We're going to stop this craziness. And I apologized to the person. And I remember anytime I would go around them, they would literally leave the room. Like they wouldn't even come around me. So I sent them a text and I, basically just said, hey, I apologize for this and this and this, and let's just put this behind us, whatever. And I just remember nothing came back from that. I don't remember if they texted me back or if someone else had come up to me, but basically my apology was not good enough because it wasn't face to face. And so it was, even though it was a honest apology, it was a situation where she was saying that she was not going to accept it unless I took that same apology and came to her face and told her to her face. Well, let me tell you, that is manipulative. And I basically said, no, you will either accept this apology or you don't accept my apology, and that's up to you. But you should never find yourself put in a situation where you are not in control of your actions, okay? Where someone else is telling you what you need to do, how you need to do it. Those manipulative type of relationships where it's never good enough. No, that is toxic. That is not of God, and that is not a relationship that you need to continue until, there's change in that person's heart, because that is not acceptable. So that's number 4. Number 5 is relationship with people who are deceitful and who are gossipers. All right, you know that type as well. They're full of drama. They've always got a story to tell you about somebody. I'm the type of person who, I'm a mediator, so I can see both views of many things, and I might have my way of seeing things, and I understand it this way, and I believe this way, and I'm in my convictions there, but I can understand and see perspectives of other people. And so, relationships like this, whenever you're trying to point out another view, like maybe you didn't see it this way, maybe, this is actually possibly a good thing, they will immediately hit you with an answer that is just completely dramatic and over the top, right? Because they're just full of that. They're full of that type of drama. And these type of people, they never seem to run out of excuses as to why they're not a good friend for you. Like, why they never show up for you when you need them. Like, they always have excuses for everything. There's always a reason why they can't be a good friend to you. And with these types of people, you just, again, you kind of go back to number 1, where you feel drained when you're around them, because literally they're just, you're tired of all of the drama. It's like never ending. It's like it's always something. And then, outside of the drama, they've also always got a story to tell you about somebody. So they like to gossip. And one thing about gossipers that I want us to understand is that if someone is having these conversations with you about other people, they could be other people that you know mutually, which a lot of times they are. And I'm not talking about a concerned friend who's saying like, hey, I need some advice on how to help this person. I'm talking about somebody who just straight up airs everyone's business, okay? So I want to ask you, if this person is a gossiper and just sits there and talks about other people, what makes you think that they don't turn around and take the things that you have said? Even considering that maybe you think that you have that special relationship with them or they don't. But I can guarantee you that the things that you're saying are going back around and being told to other people. And it's just the way that it is, okay? Because it's how they respond to things. It's how they act. So there's really nothing you can do to change that. And these are the type of relationships that you need to also end, because they're not good. They're not benefiting you in any way. Now, I realize that some of these relationships could be family in your life. You know what I mean? And when that's the case, you can't just simply avoid them and necessarily say that you're not going to talk to them anymore or whatever. You know, if they're family and if you're seeing them on a consistent basis and you need to maintain a relationship with them, then there's limits to that, right? So one thing I would strongly advise is to set boundaries with that person, for one. So if they're in any way doing any of these things, you need to say, hey, look, I don't stand for that, and I'm not going to put up with that. And make those clear to them so that they know that, hey, look, you can't come to me and gossip about this other family member. I'm not into that. I'm not cool with that. So making those boundaries very clear with them and limiting the time that you spend with them. So yeah, when you have to see them at family functions, you should still be kind to them and you should still talk to them. You know, don't cut them off completely. But I realize that there's also relationships that are so toxic that you, even if they are close family, that sometimes you just have to cut it off. You just have to cut it off altogether. But I would advise going towards whether or not you can have a relationship at a distance, you know, with limitations, before you decide whether or not to cut that person off completely. So, the relationships that take advantage of you, the relationships that drain you, the relationships that steal your peace, that steal your self-esteem, that steal your confidence in yourself and don't add to you. These are relationships that are toxic, they're not healthy, and you need to evaluate them, whether they need to be cut off or not. You know, when you're in one, you know. And these are just descriptions of them, but when you're in one of those relationships, you just know. When you're around them, you just know that they're not right for you. You know that even though you keep coming back to the person because maybe you have a long history together, you grew up together, you're connected through family or whatever, you need to evaluate these relationships because they're not benefiting you. And what I want to say is that if you continue down that path and you don't, that I feel like you just need to know that that's not love. That's not you showing love. That's not you loving yourself. All right? And I think that's very important that we understand that we have to love ourselves enough to feed our souls with good things, with things that are benefiting our life, and relationships that are allowing us to grow and to bloom in beautiful ways, and in ways that we're supported, in ways that we're motivated and encouraged. Those are the people that need to be in your circle. Those are the people that you need to be spending quality time with. The people who you have fun with, that you just enjoy being together. Those are the relationships that are right for you. So have some self-respect and some self-love enough that you look into the relationships in your life, and especially in your inner circle and the people who are really close to you. Those are the people that you need to be evaluating. And maybe doing some shifts and saying, look, this relationship is kind of defeating me. And I need to pull in some other people in my life that maybe I haven't really given that chance to see if there's a connection there. I think one of the hardest things is making friends. making friends. Because I don't know what it is. Like, I feel this way. I feel like making friends can be easy sometimes, but maintaining friendships and really deepening these relationships, that's when it gets hard. Like seeing people out and like checking in every once in a while, scrolling through social media and saying, hey, yeah, that's easy. So maintaining those really, really great relationships, that's the hard thing. So I just want to encourage you to find good relationships that benefit you. And even if you have to do a little digging, plant some seeds and allow that to grow in your life, allow that relationship a chance to grow. Think about that inner circle and think about who you're going to allow to have that place in your life and to have that say in your life. And you'll probably not notice yourself. You'll probably notice yourself going from this negative energy level to a positive one. So we'll end with that. I hope that this was helpful to you, and yeah, we'll chat again soon.